If I quote John Maxwell again, he would say the world rises and falls on leadership. Our politics rise and fall, our way of life, even our own leadership. So one, it's determining what kind of leader we want to be. And do we want other people to influence that for good or for bad? But I think then there's challenges that come alongside that. In other words, one challenge in leadership would be, well, what do you want to get in trouble for? That's
wow.
Hold on, what?
Just had a light bulb go
Hold on,
Right.
one more time, please.
Okay, so one of the decisions you need to make as a leader is what do you want to get in trouble for? Because there's certain. Well, let's.
Yeah, please, yeah.
Okay,
my mind's everything.
I
love to cause trouble.
Let's
well, let's start with this. There's no safety in playing it safe.
right.
Okay, so if you're in an organization and you're trying to play things safe, you're not going to take risks. If you try to be a yes person, eventually they're going to go, "What are you contributing to the organization?"
Well, that's a risk. By playing it safe, that's a risk.
Sure, there you could argue it that way. Yeah. So just by trying, there's no safety in safety. In other words, it leads you to being a non-contributor, and you're the easiest one to cut. And so there you go. And so then you get to choose. Okay, well, if I'm going to get in trouble, do I want to get in trouble for trusting people too much or too little? Each one brings about different problems, but there's a choice you get to make in leadership. And for me, I've personally decided I want to get in trouble for trusting people too much. I like the problems that come with that. Am I going to get burnt from time to time? Absolutely. But if I decide to trust the people too little, well, now I'm going to head down like the micromanagement camp and to do that. And we even know statistics. And let's just say from a strategic point, we know statistically people who are micromanaged make more mistakes. Which is kind of ironic, right? Because that's why you micromanage, to keep them. No, but you stress them out. You throw them to the back part of their brain. They make more mistakes. They don't
have the freedom to make a mistake,
right?
But a healthy mistake that actually pushes them, propels them forward.
Well, then they would be learning. And by the way, leaders are learners. So I think and then you set other people to do that. But you kind of got to embrace that sometimes I'm going to get in trouble for trusting people too much. And so when it happens, well, at least that's the kind of trouble I want to have and I want to do, or I want to have to deal with, kind of thing. And so it will happen. Another one would be time. There's not enough time in the day to please everybody. And so you got to disappoint the right people. You got to, and you kind of got to choose, who am I disappointing today? Who am I gonna, who's but these are,
don't ask my wife who I'm just
but that's a good one, right? And so and what's interesting, I think, if you choose to disappoint the right people and please the right people, then I think there's some great benefits to it. I was sharing with you guys, before we started recording this, that I'm getting ready to take a 1 month vacation with my family. And this is something we've decided this is what we do. And so I've done as much as a 2 month vacation.
Oh, wow.
By the way, that year, so I worked technically 10 months out of the year, made more money that year than any other.
Wow.
So it's
you're describing success to me on
I'll
every
say
level.
just nose to the grindstone. You just knew what you needed to accomplish, or were there other mitigating factors?
There's a lot of factors. So here, I'll give you this one. Harvard Business Review, they did a study in 2011. And in this study, they found out that people who take 11 or more vacation days away from work each year are 30% more likely to receive a raise at work. So people who...
I'm going to submit my days off.
Yeah, put them in now. Make sure you get at least 11. But people who take at least 11 or more vacation days away from work are 30% more likely to receive a raise at work. Why? Why do you guys think that is? I'll throw it back at you. I know the answer to the study, but
I think it's because they put it's almost like a form of gratitude. Like, it's not necessarily the right word, but knowing that you have that added time off, you put in the extra work before or after to get things accomplished, knowing that you can have your time off with your friends and family.
Okay, so so there was that. So one of the things they did find, especially afterwards, that if people spend time away from work, typically they spend quality time with quality people in their life, and so they come back to work filled.
Yes.
And so when you're feeling good, you feel filled up. No matter even how that time went, if you just feel like you spent it, you did something good there, then people are more motivated. They tend to be more productive, and so that was one thing they found. The other thing the study revealed is that people who take 11 or more vacation days away from work come back to work more skilled. They come back to more. Okay.
Love this.
So one of the reasons they come back to work. Well, let's just try this. So statistically, we hang out with people who are very similar to us.
Right.
Our friends at college, probably even coworkers, siblings, people who have similar personalities, similar interests. There is only one human relationship where statistically we end up with somebody who's a bit different than us. Any guesses of what that is?
Significant other.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is the mate
wife,
relationship.
Yeah.
It is the only human relationship where opposites somehow attract. And by the way, when that happens, first we're in love, so we don't see it. We dismiss it. We go, she's just kind of quirky, or he's got interesting ideas, and then and we dismiss.
You put it in such an elegant way.
But then what happens is the fog of love begins to dissipate, and you realize I have just committed myself to somebody who's very different than me. Mm-hmm. But it's also why we celebrate people who you go to that wedding reception and the DJ goes, who's been married for 10 or more years? Hands go up, we clap.
Mm-hmm.
Then who 25 years, less hands, more claps. Mm-hmm. 50 years. It's those two old couples, and they get a standing ovation, right? Because there's no way that was easy for 50 years. There's two opposite people working it out. But we see the benefit and the blessing of that, and how many generations that benefits and blesses as well. And so one, when you're spending time away from work, you're typically spending time with people who are not like you. And so, you're figuring out how to work things out and problem solve with people who are not like you. And so when you come back to work, look, if you figure out how to deal with a moody spouse, you can handle anybody having a bad day at work. Mm-hmm. If you figured out how to navigate unruly kids, you can broker any business deal. All right. And so that's what they found out is that people who choose to spend more time with their families are better performers at work. One, because they feel good, and two, because they've created more skill.
Yep. Oh man. Yes, the wife component, but the kids, you're going on vacation with your kids.
Yeah.
Mine are 6 and 4. So I am in it and have been for 6 years on the, little one stage.
Yep.
And just the other day, what's today? Yeah, Monday. So Saturday. Whew. They were both quite spicy.
Yep.
Quite unruly.
Yeah.
They had a few great pockets of time filled with large buckets of not so good time. It was a rough day in our household on Saturday. Yesterday flipped the script and they were phenomenal.
Yeah.
But Saturday, that's the kind of day that makes you realize if we can right the ship with two little ones that are trying to figure out their emotions and boundaries and hunger and nap and all these different things. They had meltdowns over nothing, and you're still trying to navigate it. You're like, oh, bad day at work, we're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
You can handle that.
Because by the end of the day, we're putting them to bed and we're closing their doors. My wife and I both went, thank God.
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay. All right.